time to get started. I hope more will join, but we only have 20 minutes, so I want to thank you for attending. I'm going to be talking about the value of diversity and the impact that it has on quality and innovation in the products and process improvement. When I submitted this talk a couple months ago, I was excited to share, and I still am excited, to share my passion for diversity and how it's linked to better outcomes overall. But in the last 2 weeks, the global movement to address injustices against Black lives, I'd be remiss not to also address that in this speech. And as tech people, and I assume many of us are in tech, we love to solve problems. And if we are a woman or we are even interested in this conversation around diversity, chances are that we also have a characteristic of empathy. And when you bring together the desire to solve problems and empathy, we look at situations like the injustices that is happening right now in Black lives, and we probably want to know, how can we be involved? How can we fix it? When I share and do speeches, any topic, I always want to leave someone with a takeaway, a toolkit, something that they can go and implement right away. And that could be code, that could be a checklist. But I want to make sure that as part of this presentation, that I also leave you with a toolkit for those that want to know, what can I do? Where can I get started? That you have something that you can begin with right away. I'll start by sharing a little bit about myself. I have 25 years of experience in technology. I like to say I was born a developer, raised a tester, with an underlying mission that I want to build the highest quality products and be a part of the delivery of the highest quality products possible. I love to speak on diversity, finding your hero, and moving beyond fear. In 2010, I opened and became the founder of QualityWorks Consulting Group, which is focused on services that drive higher quality and innovation and application development. And last year, I founded Posture, a cybersecurity and privacy program as a service platform. I'm sharing my social media. I hope that we can continue this conversation even beyond this hour, these 20 minutes. I'm not sure if you've heard, anyone heard for many years, the saying, I don't see color. Everyone is the same to me. And I have to believe that when that's being said, it's really being said from a good place, a place of inclusivity. But if we dissect exactly what we are saying with that statement, we don't see color. We're all the same. That sounds pretty terrible to me. I don't know about you, but if you own a television, a color TV, I'm pretty sure that you would not trade it in for black and white. It would really suck, right? Color is what provides higher quality, a deeper understanding, more perspective. And in terms of technology, that color is the perspective that allows us to build superior products, have higher performing organizations. I was asked by a CTO, Stacy, do I need the role of a tester? I mean, I think my developers, they should do their own testing. Do I need a tester? And so I'm going to use this analogy of a developer and a tester, and I'll tell you how I answer them. But first, I wanted to create an infographic between some of the characteristics that I've experienced in the best developers that I've worked with, and also some of the best testers. And this is no means is an inclusive list. I don't fit into any bucket, and I don't think any one person fits into a developer or test bucket. But I wanted to show that you can be a developer or a tester and have these characteristics, and not one set of characteristics are any better than another. It's all necessary pieces. I wanted to test out this infographic. I shared it on a QA forum. I wanted to get feedback on their thoughts. And what came back was the message, Stacy, we're working hard to unite developers and testers. Infographics like this, they aren't building the team. It's making it a us versus them. I also got feedback that this creates stereotypes. I can understand a little of what they're trying to say. We've created a community and a culture where we don't want to highlight what makes us unique because we're concerned that if we do that, it'll cause dissension. But when you think of what it takes to build a great team, it's like building a puzzle. I don't know if you've done puzzles since we've had mobile phones, smartphones, but if you've taken the time in your life to build a puzzle, one, it's not easy. It's not quick. You're going to try to fit pieces into together to make something great, and it's going to sometimes not work. But if you're able to finish the puzzle and put together these unique pieces of value and perspective, what you have normally is an incredibly vivid and beautiful photo or an image that you can put on your wall. And so our jobs as leaders, thought leaders in technology, is to encourage the formation of those type of teams. Because really, each one of those pieces is a perspective of value that's going to allow us to be more innovative and to have more quality. And I'm not going to lie, when you create a team with all of these different pieces, there are going to be more disagreements and there's going to be more conflict. If everyone thought the same, listen, meetings would be very quick. But part of understanding, and this is, in the process of evolution of any high-performing team, you're going to go through that storming, forming, norming. But the goal is if each one of these perspectives, these ideas are coming together for one common goal, you're going to get something really extraordinary. And so to go back to the answer that I gave to the CTO that asked me, do I need the role of a tester? The answer was, you don't need the role, you need the perspective. And if you feel that you have developers that have the perspective on the areas that a great tester have, you're good. And trust me, that's rare. So what do we have to risk? If you don't take the time to build your puzzle and to create teams that have this diversity of perspective, well, the growth of your team is at risk, your company, your own creative development. I remember about 5 years ago, I was talking about DevOps, right when everyone knew they had to kind of do it, but they're kind of trying to find a way out of not having to invest in this DevOps movement. And the question came up, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if we need to jump on the bandwagon of having a DevOps transformation within our company. And I shared with them that you have two options here. You don't have to do it, but you have the option between existence and extinction. Because if you don't move, if you don't grow, in 5 years, your company will be extinct. Your organization has to continue to be creative. And when we look at what jobs there will be around 5, 10, 20 years from now, the only consistent message that you hear is that you need to have creativity at your core. Everything else may be automated or replaced by artificial intelligence. So if you aren't, and your organization is not expanding its network to absorb new ideas and new strategies and building your creative muscle, the existence of your company, the existence of your role and position is definitely at risk. And so that begins with expanding your network. And this is where I will segue into expanding your network specifically now to support the Black community. Your efforts to support will not only help the Black community, it'll help your entire team, your entire company, your own self-development. And I'm going to talk about 3 different areas: hiring, supplier selection, retention, and advancement. One of the things that I've loved about being a leader in quality assurance is that we have some of the most diverse teams. I've been able to build teams where I've had construction workers, DBAs, people with no experience in technology. And I often ask, Stacy, what luck do you have that you have such great results coming out of your QA team? And I always have to credit that to diversity. What someone that used to do construction will see versus someone that graduated from an Ivy League computer science will see, it's completely different. We need both. We need all of the perspectives of the diverse customer base that we represent. So when it comes to hiring, I challenge you to ask these questions to your recruiters and your hiring managers. First, what are we doing to ensure that we have Black candidates in our talent pool? Who decides on the hiring criteria? And how do we ensure that that hiring criteria is not biased with the not a good cultural fit line? It is very easy to interview someone that's different from you and go, I don't know, something just doesn't feel right. But I challenge you, and I challenge you to hold your peers and your managers accountable to that feeling. And make sure the hiring criteria says we want diversity. We want someone that's not like us so that we can build on our ideas and our innovation and the quality within our organization. When it comes to supplier selection, many of us don't consider who owns the companies that we work with. For staff augmentation, tech tools, consultancy, rarely do we go, who owns these companies? And the process of selecting those suppliers really comes down to who you know. And that's how they select these companies. I was fortunate enough to speak with a CTO recently, and I asked him, how do you select the suppliers that you work with? He said, easy, I pull from my network. I said, okay, you pull from your network. I said, is it your CTO network? He said, oh yeah, my CTO network. That's how I choose suppliers. I said, okay. Is it the same CTO network that I met you at 6 months ago? He goes, oh yeah, that's my network. It's okay. Let me tell you, when I went to this event, let's say there were 100 people in attendance, 100 CTOs. Out of that 100 CTOs, 98 of them were white men. I was looking for a woman. I was looking for a person of color. And it was abysmal. So if you're not in the network, chances are your business is not going to be selected. So here's the questions you ask. How are suppliers and agencies selected? How do we ensure that a Black business is on the short list? A lot of large companies have diversity supplier portals. Listen, my company's in 100 of them. It's one thing to be in the portal. It's another to be considered along with the network, getting an opportunity to pitch your product, pitch your services. We want an opportunity as a business to say, what is that selection process and what's that criteria? And those are the questions that you can ask. And the last area is retention and advancement. It is great to hire Blacks within your organization, but that's just the first step. We want them to stay. We want them to thrive and flourish. And we want them to have an opportunity to share their perspective at every level, including and most importantly at the executive level. So the questions we're asking is, what is the process of reporting racism within the workplace without retaliation? How are we actively developing and promoting Black leaders within our company? So you have some questions now. What's next? Chances are you're going to ask these questions and you're going to get lip service. And that's because a lot of these questions haven't been asked enough and they may not have an answer. And even if you're at a company that has really put forth effort to make sure that it is inclusive of marginalized communities, there's always room to improve. So your follow-up response to whatever you hear is, I want to see us do better. How do you suggest we make this happen? The we part is important. That is what's going to open doors to creation of committees and initiatives that focus on hiring and buying and hiring and suppliers that get an opportunity to be considered from those marginalized communities like the Black community. So I want to leave you with this. I have worked with women for my 25 years in technology. I've hired them. They've been my peers. I've worked for them. And the one thing that I can say is that we do not share our point of view, our recommendations, or drive innovations enough. I found myself learning about golf, steaks, baseball, cigars, all to understand more of the perspective of the male-driven environments in which I've worked. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. The problem is that they are not also getting an opportunity to hear my perspective, understand more about me. And that hurts. That hurts us as women. It hurts the organization, the quality of the products that we're creating and building. It stifles innovation. I was preparing for a talk, Women Who Test. And I wanted a quote that spoke specifically from a woman about overcoming fear. Now, I'm not the best researcher, but I couldn't find anything from a woman. And so I wrote this quote that we have to make a decision every day that we have more impact than our fears. And I'm not saying that to say, woohoo, I've conquered my fears and so that I can have more impact. I'm saying this because I live with fears every day. I live every morning with the fear that my son will be killed by a police officer. I'm scared every day. And so what I'm asking from you and the community, when I ask for your help, isn't something that's easy. But taking a stand for Black lives, taking a stand for diversity, being able to show the full 4K Ultra HD color of our diverse perspectives is critical. The future of our technology depends on it. I'm done. Thank you. I think we have some time. If there's questions in the chat, I'd love to have this conversation continue on Twitter. Please reach out to me. This is a conversation that has been going on for hundreds of years, and my goal was to get it done within 18 minutes. And so thank you for your time. Please stay in touch with me. Any way that I can support you, I'd appreciate it.